Hey guys, this week's stock pick could put a little bit extra in your Christmas stocking. Let's not stand here. Let's get after it and see what our four picks could do for you. Today's stock picks are something you're going to really want to really take a look at. These are really great stocks. One is FIBN and this comes from Anil. This is 5.9. And Anil basically said this one has an SMR rating of A, accumulation distribution A minus, 99, and then for the comp rating and 1.8 up down ratio. That means it's going to be a little bit volatile, however, can be provide some. And he basically is. I know Anil is working on a slightly modified entry aspect, but he did say his triple screen had given him a weekly signal on this, and so now he's waiting for a potential entry. Where that will be, he doesn't know. But I'd be looking over here in that. Notice what has happened with this over the last little bit. It's just driving sideways. And so when you get into a parallel or a horizontal range, if prices start to fall and get to the midsection and then reverse, that is oftentimes a very strong bullish signal that you want to be jumping on about that midsection, and another place where you can use those Fibonacci's to the upside. So that's the Neil's number one pick for this week. Now, my number one pick for this week is a retread. And you'll know what I'm talking about in just a second. Last week, we were actually trading this, and all full disclosure, we were trading this with our premium members. And it basically round tripped on us very quickly after it gapped down because it increased the number of shares. It increased the number of shares that the company has, but we are now getting an excellent opportunity for a potential trade. What's going on? The TSI momentum is starting to shift right on the very bottom. The TSI and the market forecast gave us a two-line cluster here, right there, when it came down and hit that line. Yeah, let's do a better job, Dennis, of seeing where we got that two-line cluster about there, and draw that straight up. And so right in those areas, right there when you got that hammer, actually. And the rule about two-line clusters on the market forecast is that normally within 1 to 4 trading periods after that, you'll get a reversal. The weekly charts is, look, we've got a nice hammer after it's coming down to retest into our zone here between this moving averages. And we had a close to a two-line cluster on the weekly market forecast. Here's the way I want to basically be trading this one. This one has an accumulation of 97. A comp rate of 97, a accumulation distribution of C plus 1.1. It is a very strong. It's the top of its particular. It's the top of its particular industry group. So I'd be looking for a pullback. Well, one, I could nibble a little bit right now. If going into the weekend, I would, I could wait for a potential pullback into that midsection, middle third of the big green candle there, because I've got a hammer followed by a bullish engulfing. So those are normally pretty strong indications. If I buy here or I buy where it's at, before it closes, as long as I hold above the midsection there and bought it before it closes, I'd be looking for it to run up to the 20 at least, and then it may slow down or it may bust on through and go on up because the fundamentals of the company have stayed very strong, even though we've added more shares. Anil's next pick is Workday. Workday there's a couple of different ways I'd look at. Now, again, I'm kind of giving my flavor on this. Is a great pick by Anil. And check that out. We had our breakout, and it just gapped right above that swing high right there. I'm looking for some kind of a pullback towards that number. This one has an SMR of A, accumulation distribution of B, comp 99, 1.2 on the up-down ratio. Now, when I say I'm looking for a pullback towards the breakout area, sometimes it's an intraday pullback. Just be aware of that. And you can see that gave us a little pullback. And sometimes it, when I say pullback towards, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get all the way back here. That's one of the mistakes people make in playing trading pullbacks, is they think it's going to, drop all the way back and test that level. No, it gets back and tests a zone. And so that I like the middle of that big green candle right there. So this is a workday and looking pretty good. Again, I think it's set for a pullback, so I wouldn't be necessarily buying it right now because it's extended. It's extended way above its 20-day moving average. And so when that happens, you have a couple of choices. You look for a pullback towards the 20-day moving average, or you look for price action to drive sideways and the 8 and 20-day moving average catch up with it. And I'll get back to those other questions in just a second, guys. So before we get into the the next pick, which is of course the leverage ETF that I'm looking at, let me answer a couple of questions here. If you get stopped out due to a hammer bar, do I get back in? I'm assuming you mean stopped out because it drops to the low of the hammer, Terrell. So yeah, if we break below, if price action moves below the low of the hammer of a hammer, one, it actually, if that hammer was at the end of a downtrend and is a legitimate reversal signal, it voids the reversal signal. So what I do is I wait. I need another trigger and buy signal, because if it violates the low, it's like the hammer. The hammer happened, so I know that, yeah, buyers may come in. So, okay, price above the BB. If you mean Bollinger Bands, that is, I don't use Bollinger Bands. Those are Keltner channels. And so oftentimes the price is above those. Yeah, it's oftentimes an indication of a couple of different things, David. That's a great question. A couple of different things. It's an indication that we're on a very strong uptrend, as you can see that we have over here. At the same time, there's often a draw that will come back into the Keltner channel. And that's what I'd be looking at. That's what I'd be looking at happening. So with no further ado, as you can see, biotechs have broken out of their downtrend line, kind of. Look on the weekly chart over here. You see the long tail at the top is indicating that's where sellers are coming in. Look to your left. Yeah, that would make sense. I think Mark, do you still appreciate me saying look to the left? If you look to the left in this particular case, what's happening? We got right up into the bottom side of when you're determining where you have your support and resistance. It's another thing to look at is if you're coming up from the bottom, the lower section of that consolidation box is a level of resistance, as is also the top. So that forms a resistance zone for me that I want to be aware of. So as you see, this is looking a little bit, I won't say absolutely shaky. However, it's looking like it might want to do a pullback and be a more significant pullback. So if that's the case, what I'm looking at potentially trading is LABD. Now, LABD, I really, this is very interesting. Where might we go? Well, LABD has given me not quite a hammer, but it is looking like it's trying to put in a low. I like it maybe a little bit lower down here at the $13 level, but it's pretty darn close to it right now. I wouldn't buy here, but I look for a repeat back in somewhere between $13.70 all the way down to $13. Some of the clues we have going on: TSI just about ready to break back up to the upside. Market forecast, I had a 3-line cluster over here. And let's go ahead and, so I had a 3-line cluster there, which corresponds to that day right there. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4. So as advertised, between 1 and 4 days in this case, to expect a reversal. That's what's happening today. We're getting a nice little reversal pattern. However, one of the things about that rule is that the reversal can be from a lower price. Be aware of that. So TSI, another thing we may want to be keeping an eye on is just drawing a trend line across here. And this would be another thing for a, if you want to be more conservative in your approach, you could wait until the TSI actually goes above that trend line. And then what may happen here, this price action may turn up, and you may be looking for a bounce off of the 8-day moving average and then zoom on up from there. What is my expectations on this particular trade? If we get in approximately where it's at, let's say we get in down here, I expect a move back up to the 20. As you can see, that's about 22%. We could also get a larger move as it did over here, from here to here. If we did a similar move to that, we would get a move of about 70%, 60% or so. Because from here up to that high was about 96% over a 56-day period. So I want that to bring home that both leverage ETFs for the biotechs have some significant potential to move a lot. So right now, let me ask you, of those entities, which one of the stocks or ETFs is most interesting to you? Go ahead and just leave a comment. You know what they say, it's been true for centuries that trading success isn't built overnight. It's built by a step-by-step process. It's been that way since Charles Dow and before that. If you found today's insights valuable, then don't forget to, one, do that, and also share it with somebody. Share it with a fellow trader, or we're coming into the new year, and a lot of people want to be checking out what trading is about going into the new year. So remember, ancient wisdom taken from the ancient trader meets modern day trading, and we can make that happen together. Lastly, hey, thanks for thanks for everything on the book. I really appreciate that. And you can get it in 2 different places. You can get it, and it's ranked up there number 2 in one of its categories on the Amazon. And you can pick that up either on Amazon. If you want it before Christmas, though, you're going to get it at the on our website, and you get the e-version. And if you have read it, even if you have the e-copy, you can go over and leave a comment on Amazon. Thrilled about the market as we are, and want to stay ahead of the game. Be sure to follow Autopilot Trading and also the Market Tech Talk YouTube channel.